The Etruscans. Etruria and the Etruscan, 900 to 89 BCE. They called themselves Ravenna. They're located between the Arno and Tiber rivers of central Italy. Their language is Greek-derived script, mostly undeciphered. They were active in trade, art-making culture. Their period mirrored that of Greece, Orientalizing, archaic, classical, and Hellenistic. The Etruscans, Villanovan and Orientalizing art, circa 900 to 600 BCE. During the Villanovan period of the early first millennium BCE, the Etruscans emerged as a people with a culture distinct from those of other Italic peoples and the Greeks. Their language, although written in a Greek-derived script, is unrelated to the Indo-European linguistic family. In the 7th century BCE, the Etruscans traded metals from their mines for foreign goods and began to produce jewelry and other luxury objects decorated with motifs modeled on those found on imports from Mesopotamia. The Regilini Galassi tomb at Cerveteri contained a treasure trove of Orientalizing Etruscan jewelry. Early Etruscan art, Orientalizing art. We have fibula with Orientalizing lions from the Regilini Galassi tomb. From the Sorbo necropolis is a Cerveteri, Italy, circa 650 to 640 BCE. Trade inspires the incorporation of monsters and other motifs. It's a gold pin, a giant gold pin. It would fasten a woman's gown at the shoulder. Repoise and granulation is the fusing of tiny metal balls or granules to a metal surface, and that is Aegean. It is disc-shaped, which is Italian, and lines or motifs originating in the Orient. Architecture during this time, this is a model of a typical Etruscan temple of the 6th century BCE, as described by Vitruvius. It resembled Greek temples, but it had widely spaced columns. Their unfluted wood columns are placed only at the front. Their walls are made of sun-dried mud brick. There are a narrow staircase at the center of the facade, and it has a tile-covered timber roof. Archaic art, circa 600 to 480 BCE. Etruscan power in Italy was strongest during the 6th century BCE. Etruscan kings even ruled Rome until 509 BCE, when the Romans expelled Tarquinius Superbus and established the Roman Republic. The Etruscans admired Greek art and architecture, but did not copy Greek works. They constructed their temples of wood and mud brick instead of stone, and placed the columns and stairs only at the front. Terracotta statuary decorated the roof. Most surviving Etruscan artworks come from underground tomb chambers. In the Badataccia necropolis at Cerveteri, great earthen mounds or tumuli covered tombs, such as the tombs of the shields and chairs, which has a sculptured interior imitating a house of the living. Some of the tombs house terracotta statues, including sarcophagi of married couples. On the left is the core in Ionian dress from the Acropolis in Athens, and notice that archaic smile. So the core in Ionian dress, the curved asymmetrical lines formed by the folds of the drapes greatly relieves the strict frontality and verticality of the core, and the core displays a characteristic archaic smile, which indicates life. The Apollo, or the Apollo of Veii, from the roof of the Portinaccio temple in Veii, Italy. It has a sense of energy, and the Apollo of Veii is a life-sized painted terracotta Etruscan statue of Apollo, designed to be placed at the highest part of a temple. Here, this is from a tomb. This is a sarcophagus with a reclining couple from the Badataccia necropolis, Cerveteri, Italy, circa 520 BCE. It's painted terracotta. The sarcophagi in the form of a husband and wife dining on a couch have no parallels in Greece. The artist focused on the upper half of the figures, and the emphatic gestures are Etruscan hallmarks. Women did attend banquets and recline with their husbands on a common couch. Tombs. Tumulus is Latin for a burial mound. The tumuli in Banditaccia necropolis, Cerveteri, Italy, 7th to 2nd centuries BCE. Some of the tombs are monumental, cut in rock and topped by impressive tumuli, which are burial mounds. Many feature carvings on their walls. Others have wall paintings of outstanding quality. The necropolis near Cerveteri, known as Banditaccia, contains thousands of tombs organized in a city-like plan with streets, small squares, and neighborhoods. The site contains very different types of tombs, trenches cut in rock, tumuli, and some, also carved in rock, in the shape of huts or houses with a wealth of structural details. These provide the only surviving evidence of Etruscan residential architecture. Interior of the Tomb of the Leopards. Men have dark skin, women have light skin. Gestures, profile view, large hands. Monterosi necropolis, Tarquinia, Italy, circa 480 BCE. And periscopes were used to identify tombs with painted murals. The Tomb of the Leopards is an Etruscan burial chamber, so called for the confronted leopards painted above a banquet scene. The tomb is located within the necropolis of Monte Rosi and dates to around 480 to 450 BCE. The painting is one of the best preserved murals of Tarquinia and is known for its lively coloring and its animated depictions rich with gestures. The banqueters are elegantly dressed male-female couples attended by two nude boys carrying serving implements. The women are depicted as fair-skinned and the men as dark, in keeping with the gender conventions established in the Near East, Egypt, and archaic Greece. The arrangement of the three couples prefigures a triclinium of Roman dining. Musicians are pictured on the walls to the left and the right of the banquet. On the right, a comos of wreathed figures and musicians approaches the banquet. On the left, 6 musicians and gift bearers appear in a statelier procession. The man on the far right couch holds up an egg, a symbol of regeneration, and the other banqueters hold wreaths. The scene is usually taken to represent the deceased's funerary banquet or a family meal that would be held on the anniversary of his death. It is presented as a celebration of life, while Etruscan banquet scenes in earlier tombs have a more somber character. The scene appears to take place outdoors, within slender trees and vegetation, perhaps under a canopy. Although the figures are distinctly Etruscan, the artist of the central banquet draws on trends in Greek art and marks a transition from archaic to early classical style in Etruscan art. The processions on the left and right are more markedly archaic and were executed by different artists. The Etruscans, we have the classical and Hellenistic art period circa 480 to 89 BCE. The Greek victory over the Etruscan fleet off Cumae in 474 BCE ended Etruscan domination of the sea and marked the beginning of the decline of Etruria. Rome destroyed Veii in 396 BCE and conquered Cerveteri in 273 BCE. All of Italy became Romanized by 89 BCE. Later Etruscan tombs are not as richly furnished as those of the archaic period, but the classical and Hellenistic Etruscan sculptors continued to excel in bronze casting and engraving. The Chimera of Arezzo and the Ficcaroni Sista are late classical masterworks. A more somber mood characterizes many late classical and Hellenistic Etruscan artworks, for example, the sarcophagus of Lars Polyna. Later Etruscan architecture is noteworthy for the widespread use of the stone arch, often framed with Greek pilasters or engaged columns, as on the Porta Marghia at Perugia. Capitoline Wolf from Rome, Italy, circa 500 to 480 BCE or 12th century CE. Bronze, it's made of bronze. The Capitoline Wolf is a bronze sculpture depicting a scene from the legend of the founding of Rome. The sculpture shows a she-wolf suckling the mythical twin founders of Rome, Romulus and Remus. They were saved by the god Tiberinus, father of the river, and survived with the care of others at the site of what would eventually become Rome. In the most well-known episode, the twins were suckled by a she-wolf in a cave now known as Leprechaun. Eventually, they were adopted by Faustulus, a shepherd. Even though Romulus had seen more birds, Remus argued that he had seen them first, and therefore the city should be built on the Aventine hill. Meanwhile, Romulus began to build a wall on his hill, which Remus decided to jump over. Angered by his brother's action, Romulus killed him. Porta Augusta, Perugia, Italy. Perugia. I don't know. The city gate of Perugia. It's a round arch. At the top is the keystone. It's a central stone at the summit of an arch that locks the whole thing together. And there is an example of a barrel vault. There's many pathways were barrel vaults. The Etruscan Arch, or Arch of Augustus, or Augustus Gate, is one of 8 gates in the Etruscan wall of Perugia, known today as Perugia. It is one of the only 2 surviving gates, along with the Porta Margia to the south. The arch is part of a massive set of walls which are 30 feet tall and 9,500 feet long, made of travertine and set without mortar. It covers approximately a quarter of a square mile over 3 hills. The arch consists of an attractive facade with a single archway and 2 trapezoidal towers. The archway forms a semicircular barrel vault passageway over 30 feet high. 2 rows of voussoirs, the wedge-shaped stones that form an arch, form the shape of the arch and are held in place by a keystone at the top. This is all Mattel Arigator from Cortona, Italy, early 1st century, made of bronze, 5 feet, 7 inches high. This life-size bronze statue portraying all Mattel is Etruscan in name only. The orator wears the short toga and high boots of a Roman magistrate, and the portrait style is Roman as well.